Nigerian, a broadcast network committed to serving you the very best in online and offline television programming. Situated in the serene environment of Guzape, Abuja FCT, TVN, as it is fondly called, caters to a wide variety of audience via carefully orchestrated mind-blowing programs in the areas of fashion, business, politics, entertainment, religion, movies, food and health, culture and lifestyle, events around the globe, sports and foreign news. Whatever your inclination, we've got you completely covered with programs like Issues of the Moment, The Patriot, Daybreak Nigeria, Matter Africa, TVN Business Time, Healthy Living, From the Cradle, Stay Inspired, Entertainment Gist, Movie Hour, Hits Paradise, among others. All designed to keep you thoroughly informed, entertained, at the edge of your seats and yearning for more. A tour around our domain will reveal a highly dedicated staff force and a state-of-the-art facility and equipment for high-definition quality broadcast, making our station your #1 choice in advertising your business and propagating your ideas. We are currently on NightComSat doing our test transmission for takeoff in the nearest future. Television Nigerian is located in Nigeria at Television Nigerian House, Guzape Hilltop Mansion, beside Guzape White House, Guzape Abuja FCT, and in the United Kingdom at 45 Ancient House, 48 Aerodrome Road, Beaufort Park, Colindale, London. For inquiries,
there's always something happening in the world of entertainment. From trending hot topics to even hotter music videos, the best events, and the most interesting guests, of course.
It just pushed me.
So find all of that juiciness and more on Posh Spice, the show that brings you all of the most entertaining content from the entertaining world of entertainment.
That's lit, man!
So watch me bring sizzling hot content to you on Television Nigerian. You can watch us on our NightComSat platforms, and if you are not a fan of television, watch us on our social media platforms and our web TV, of course.
Don't miss it. Seriously, don't miss it. My job literally depends on it.
morning and welcome to Daybreak Africa on Television Nigeria. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning and as usual we're here to give you information, entertainment and everything you need to make sure that you go into your day feeling enlightened and ready to take on whatever it is that comes your way. I am Priscilla Ajayshila.
And I'm Aisha Salihu. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Aisha, it's definitely a beautiful morning.
It is.
Even
You look
though
well
it's hot.
rested. You
Yes.
look beautiful.
I made sure I slept as much as I could. I slept immediately I got home. Sometimes when you're really tired from work and
Right.
you take your each shower, the next thing is just to sleep.
Your beauty sleep. You have to catch up on your beauty sleep, right?
And as usual, the traffic is crazy, everything is going on.
Right.
But yes, man must survive, right?
And then at times I wonder, how come we're recording so much traffic in Abuja these days? Is it that the Lagos
intensity
people
has-
actually moved here?
That's the
Or what's
question.
happening?
That's the question. I think we need to find out. We need to do some kind
So
of
research.
Exactly, investigate this whole situation. But meanwhile, there's so much going on. Particularly, it's about this whole APC court moving. So, an appeal court sitting in Abuja, the nation's capital, has restrained the All Progressive Congress (APC), Nigeria's ruling party, from executing the judgment of a federal capital territory high court, which charged that the suspension of Adams Oshomole as national chairman of the party. Justice Dalami Senohi of the Federal Capital Territory FCT High Court in Abuja had on March 4, ordered the suspension of Oshomole pending the determination of a suit filed by one Oluwale Afolabi. This whole situation.
Right, this is definitely a good news for Adams Oshomole. And then I was also reading in the news this morning that he's going to chair the National Executive Council meeting of the All Progressives Congress. And then I was wondering, okay, so now his suspension has been cancelled and now he's still in power now, the APC chairman.
Yesterday we were talking about, the NEC meeting and everything, and I heard it's been postponed.
Right, but today now, Adams Oshomole is going to be the one to chair it. And then I'm wondering, okay, so far for like 2 weeks now, he has had this whole wrestle back and forth with the court, his suspension, the National Working Committee, the national leader of the party, Tinubu, also came out to say it was the Oshomole virus, and then everything has just been going back and forth. Okay, as it is now that the court has actually reaffirmed him as the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, what then do you think is going to happen? Because I feel, from a layman understanding, and then as human beings that we are, maybe he may want to retaliate on, because definitely he must have known who his enemies are and who his friends are.
At this point, it's more about, now he has sieved out the
Right.
balance. So what will be his next point of action?
But then again, I think as a quality, one of the qualities of a good leader is forgiveness, right?
Well, we shall see about that. I don't think it's that easy to forgive someone or a set of people who you feel intentionally tried to take your position,
sabotage you
or
something.
sabotage you, something like that. And apart from that, the fact is it's politics, and
Right.
some of these people might not even really want to sabotage him. It's just that they feel like, okay, they're supporting somebody else or they have some kind of gain intended. So yes, this whole situation is a lot, but there's definitely more on the news. So let's
Right.
get right into headlining so we can find out the rest of the things that are happening in the news. Do stay tuned. Well, welcome back. There's definitely so much happening in the news, and I shall.
Right. The major stories making the rounds. And then one of the stories that caught my attention there is that of the Lagos government talking about raising 2 billion naira fund for the people who were affected by the pipeline explosion. And then I was wondering, okay, because you would see on social media a lot of Nigerians are reacting differently. There's been mixed reaction visited on that particular issue. Some are wondering, is it right for a state government to want to raise 2 billion naira, asking the general public to donate some money up to 2 billion naira for relief for these people? And then some people were like, okay, is it that the state government cannot bring the money out from their own pocket, or what's happening? Why are they asking people to donate some money?
I mean, something like this happens in Lagos State. Lagos State is supposed to handle it, and now they're putting it out there for people to donate funds. I mean, when we talk about donate funds, we donate funds to charities and stuff like that,
but then
not
again,
to the government.
No, but then again, I think this fund is not really for the government. Some people were even of the opinion that it wouldn't have been so much of a bad idea if people are asked to donate some fund for relief for people who have been affected by one incident or the other. But the main problem now is accountability, because we have lots of big people in Lagos. Dangote is there, Mike Adenuga is there, Otedola is there, and then other Tony Elumelu is there. Other people, other rich Nigerians are in Lagos, and so Alakija is there too. And then if these people eventually bring out some money, bring this money out, and then it would even be more than the 2 billion naira that the state government is asking for. What about accountability? How are we sure the state government is going to use it the way it ought to use it?
Yeah, and then apart from that, the fact is, common Nigerians, we all have problems, and then they're giving us an amount. Okay, so we're supposed to donate as much as 2 billion naira. So when this money comes, how do they intend to share it amongst these people? Well, sometimes when you feel like you're giving in money for something, you want to know some of the details. Right. Am I just going to give my money and then forget about it?
My point exactly. So what about accountability?
How
are they going to set up some agency, or what are they going to set up a committee to look into the accountability of this 2 billion naira, and let us make sure that this money gets to the people who are actually affected?
Exactly. And then it's a lot, because we're not really in a place where we're like, well, we have all the money, and then when you want to donate to something, you expect that at least you definitely get your money.
And then even the average Nigerians would want to donate, not just the rich guys that I mentioned earlier. So I think most Nigerians are concerned about accountability of that money, and then if it's even right in the first place for state government to ask people to donate money for relief. Well, moving away from that, we're still talking about curbing crime in the country, and now the Nigeria Police Force has arraigned notorious kidnap suspects Bala Hamisu, also known as Wadume, and 18 others for terrorism, murder, kidnapping, and possession of illegal arms. He arrived at the court alongside his co-defendants amidst tight security by the Inspector General of Police Intelligence Response Team. Well, Wadume is in the news again. I remember sometime last year when he was arrested, there were lots of controversies surrounding his arrest. Some people came out to say, on social media, there were lots of controversies surrounding his arrest, and then he was tagged this notorious criminal that it was hard to track him down. But when eventually some two detectives of the Nigerian Police Force were able to track him, his activities, and then they arrested him eventually. But then he came out and started pointing fingers. He was pointing fingers. But when you look at all of these people that perpetrate these crimes, right, you find out that when they start telling you their stories, you find out that they have some backing, some support.
And then the fact is, for him to have become, so notorious, then definitely he has some backing, he has some godfathers.
Alongside 18 others. So I think we have to really ensure that this whole crime that people keep perpetrating, and then some maybe politicians or people, the big guys, supporting them financially, or maybe they're the ones even selling the ideas to them.
Exactly. And the fact is, when they have such backings, they have financial backings, and then in some sort of way, I think particularly the reason why Wadume's situation is like this, because the general public knows about it. Imagine other criminals that get arrested and then nobody knows. They can easily free them. They can pay bribes.
And then at that time, it raised a lot of doors where the Nigerian army was involved, Nigerian police, and then the whole thing back and forth. And then it was involving political parties. And I was like, okay, why do our politicians keep using people? Because they do not even use their own children. They use other people to perpetrate these crimes. You are here at the forefront telling us you're protecting lives and property, but then when these criminals have been arrested, some of them keep pointing at you, naming names, saying, yes, this person was one of my sponsors, this person asked me to do this, this person asked me to destabilize the community, or do this or do that.
Sometimes you ask yourself, what are their intentions? What do they intend to gain by these acts? And then it just gets to the point where there is somebody that has something to gain. That's probably the person who pays them to perpetrate this act. They get paid a lot of money to do these things, and that encourages them to continue their path. And then we notice that even during elections, we see political talks and stuff like that. So yeah, that just brings to mind that our politicians.
My major concern about this Wadume case now, and alongside 18 others that has been paraded or rearranged in court, my major concern now is that they should meet their Waterloo. Justice should prevail. Because I don't want to hear tomorrow that maybe they paid money for some bill and then the court is saying this, is saying that, and then maybe they're allowed to go back to the street as free men. No, that's not fair at all. So we can only hope that we let us have that trust in the judicial system and the process that eventually they'll be convicted of their crimes. And then he has to pay the great price for committing such crimes. Well, moving away from crimes, we're still talking about the dethronement of the Emir of Kano State. And now, the recent news in Kano is about the Speaker of Kano State House of Assembly, Honorable Abdulaziz Gafasa, who has approved the suspension of 5 of its members for 6 months in connection with the last week's fracas in the House. The suspension of the 5 members was announced at the resumption of yesterday's sitting, I beg your pardon, due to misconduct, behavior, and violation of the rules of the House of Assembly. Well, they are saying this is a violation of the rules of the House of Assembly, but according to some reports that I also saw, it was more like these House of Assembly members that have been suspended for 6 months now were part of the people who protested against the dethronement of the Emir. That's Sanusi.
That was the news going around yesterday, and now that we're hearing.
Although they would never really come out to say they're suspending them because they supported this or they didn't support this.
Well, there's still a point where we don't know why they were suspended. Maybe they were suspended and people just felt like okay because it was around the same time that the Emir was thrown.
Right.
So
we keep hearing different reports in the media, and then it's just more of sieving out the truth. Right, and then carrying out accurate research, so we'll get to know the real story. Now, if they're saying they're suspending them because of some misconduct, but how come it's coming at the same period the Emir of Kano, the deposed Emir of Kano, was asked to leave the traditional seat? There's been a lot in Kano State lately. If we're hearing Sanusi here, we're hearing Ganduje there, we're hearing the new Emir.
Yeah, so much going on. And then the fact is, at this point, I'm sure there's more to come. There's definitely more to come because the Emir is, living his life. The deposed Emir, he's living his life. He's obviously out there doing his thing, I feel like he has moved past this more than anybody else.
Right, of course.
He's
in Lagos State, and even the Oba of Lagos went to visit him. A lot of people have been paying homage to him. It's more like he's some kind of a celebrity now. And then I even saw in the news that APC of Kano State, APC members Kano State, were asking Kaduna State government to create a separate emirate for Sanusi. Because Kaduna State Governor Erufai and Sanusi share this deep friendship, this bond. And so I think they feel since you've come to his rescue, you're doing everything to make sure he's free, he's fine, why don't you go ahead and create an emirate in your state?
I feel like that would be a lot. Creating
of course, it's not even possible.
It would definitely be a lot. But meanwhile, we've been talking so much about things happening in Nigeria. Let's move on to things happening across the African frontiers. News across Africa is up next, and we will be right back.
Good morning, this is News Across Africa on Daybreak Africa. Ghana has banned public hearing, including conferences, funerals, political rallies, and religious activities, including the closure of all universities and schools after confirming 4 new cases of coronavirus. The ban on gatherings will be in force for 4 weeks, starting from 16 March, as the country has now confirmed 6 coronavirus cases. Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo, in an address, said the new measures are in the interest of public safety and protection of the Ghanaian population. The Ministry of Information and Communication have been tasked to roll out distance learning program for its students.
Rwanda reported 4 new coronavirus cases on Sunday, taking the total infections to 5, according to a statement by Health Ministry. The new cases all involve Rwandan nationals. 2 patients arrived from Fiji and London, respectively, while 1 patient was infected internally. The Health Ministry added that they are searching for people who may have been in contact with the patients. President Paul Kagame on Sunday challenged leaders from neighboring countries to join the World Health Organization Safe Hands Challenge that emphasizes hand washing as a preventive measure. Police in Kenya says they have arrested a 23-year-old man for publishing false information on the spread of coronavirus, adding that he will be charged with publishing false information that can cause panic. Elijah Mutui Kitonyo was arrested in Mwingi town in eastern Kenya for claiming that the government gave misleading information on the first confirmed case of coronavirus in the country. Zimbabwe's Defense Minister Opamuchungiri has called coronavirus a punishment to the United States and Europe for imposing sanctions on Zimbabwe country. The US and EU imposed financial and travel restrictions against individuals and companies for what they say is a lack of progress in democratic and human rights reform, as well as restrictions on press freedom. There are 116,860 coronavirus cases worldwide, but Zimbabwe has not yet detected any cases. And in sport, Morocco's Football Federation has announced the suspension of all football activities in the country until further notice because of the coronavirus pandemic. The Moroccan Federation said on Sunday that the indefinite ban will affect matches in various Moroccan football competitions in all categories. The decision came just a few hours after Morocco's Ministry of Sport and Youth released an official statement banning all sport activities in the country. Both the Women's Under-20 World Cup qualifiers set for later this month and April's Women 2020 Nations Cup qualifier have also been postponed. And that's all for you on news across Africa on Daybreak Africa. Daybreak Africa continues shortly.
This is Television Nigerian, a broadcast network committed to serving you the very best in online and offline television programming. Situated in the serene environment of Guzape, Abuja FCT, TVN, as it is fondly called, caters to a wide variety of audience via carefully orchestrated mind-blowing programs in the areas of fashion, business, politics, entertainment, religion, movies, food and health, culture and lifestyle, events around the globe, sports and foreign news. Whatever your inclination, we've got you completely covered with programs like Issues of the Moment, The Patriot, Daybreak Nigeria, Matter Africa, TVN Business Time, Healthy Living, From the Cradle, Stay Inspired, Entertainment Gist, Movie Hour, Hits Paradise, among others. All designed to keep you thoroughly informed, entertained, at the edge of your seat and yearning for more. A tour around our domain will reveal a highly dedicated staff force and a state-of-the-art facility and equipment for high-definition quality broadcast, making our station your #1 choice in advertising your business and propagating your ideas. We are currently on NightComSat doing our test transmission for takeoff in the nearest future. Television Nigerian is located in Nigeria at Television Nigerian House, Guzape Hilltop Mansion, beside Guzape White House, Guzape Abuja FCT, and in the United Kingdom at 45 Ancient House, 48 Aerodrome Road, Beaufort Park, Colindale, London. For inquiries,
Welcome back. This is still Daybreak Africa on Television Nigeria. And so much happening on the African frontiers, and particularly there's so much news of coronavirus.
Right.
More
And then
cases of
one of the
coronavirus.
stories that I noticed in that news across Africa was Rwanda. Rwanda has 4 cases so far
new
now.
cases now,
4 new
5.
cases. And then I'm wondering, how come coronavirus is spreading so fast even in Africa. See, Rwanda, although the Rwandan president is calling for more hygienic, people should ensure proper hygiene, especially hand washing, which we've been talking about for a very long time, especially on this program. How we've been encouraging hand washing, even the use of hand sanitizers. If you have to sneeze or cough, you must use your handkerchief or your tissue. And now Rwanda are recording about 4 cases. South Africa was in the news yesterday, and then also Morocco suspending football activity because of coronavirus as well. And then Zimbabwe too also talked about coronavirus being a punishment for, I think, is it for sins or for the crimes that were committed?
People have had a lot of theories about coronavirus. A lot of people have had, some people are saying God is punishing, some people are saying it's because of corruption from Nigeria. Truth is, before now, there's been, a lot of talk about coronavirus not really being, spreading on the African continent. But particularly in the news, I heard that there's actually theories that it might be because of inadequate reportage or inadequate testing. Because let's face it, we're not doing any tests in most African countries, any coronavirus tests. So how can we be certain? How can we know for certain that, coronavirus is not on our shores? Even though we're all hopeful that, yes, we're living our lives and, there's been no kind of unnecessary deaths or, sickness around. So I think that's enough to convince us that
But then this whole coronavirus thing, I read a report in the news this morning about Italy saying patients from the age of 80, I think they've actually reached an agreement where, a proposal where patients are above 80, that's elderly people who have this COVID-19, are going to be left to die. Why? Because it's overwhelming. In Italy for a long time now, Italy has been shut down. Even America declared a state of emergency. I think China is still suffering it. A lot of countries have actually shut down. Schools are no longer operational. Public places, they are not allowing other people go into public places. And then even yesterday, we saw in the news that Idris Elba, British actor, also contracted coronavirus. And then a Russian actor as well contracted the virus.
Yeah, and then when I heard, I was shaking up. I was like, wow, this coronavirus is really
It's indeed a pandemic. And the fact that our World Health Organization has even declared it a pandemic, I think it's now staring us in our faces. If anyone has been asleep before now, they should know that the virus is out there. And some African countries have even actually asked for travel ban, asking people not to come into the country or go out, which also brings us to the point. I was on Twitter yesterday when some Nigerians were saying, okay, South Africa has actually said they've placed a travel ban. So how come Nigeria? South Africa contracted the virus some days ago, and then travel ban already.
They've actually had a couple of cases in South Africa.
And then how come Nigeria is still saying, okay, we should open our borders, and then no travel ban so far. Anybody can go in and out of the country.
We can't see this virus. It's not like it's something that you can see on someone's head. So that's the more reason why we should be cautious. We should be careful, because fact is, you get in contact with people when you travel. Even Donald Trump actually
carried out the test to know if he had the virus, because he had come in contact with some
people. I actually feel like there should be more testing in Africa. We should be conscious about testing. Everybody should get tested.
And I feel there should even be more precautionary measures taken, especially in Nigeria. Although the Minister of Health has I watched his conference yesterday, organized in Abuja here, and then he was talking about I think he was majorly talking about the Italian man who brought in the virus in Nigeria, and then saying that his temperature has it's no longer as high as it used to be. Some of the symptoms he was experiencing, some are beginning to go down, but he's not fully recovered. Nobody is saying anybody has recovered. But my point now is that is the only case that has been confirmed in Nigeria. There are lots of other cases, which also bring me to what you said, that there should be more testing. If we're not testing people and we do not even know what's wrong with people, some people, they are experiencing fever and then some of these symptoms of the coronavirus, but they are not even aware.
Go and buy drugs at their house.
And then if you leave our airports open, anybody can go in and come out. You don't know who's coming into the country. You don't know who is bringing the virus into the country. And especially now that we're not testing ourselves on a regular basis, how do we know if the next person I'm sitting with is not like already having the virus?
This is a lot. I personally feel like if we try to do a little bit more testing, it will really, really help. Especially in Lagos State, since there's been confirmed cases there, a confirmed case at least,
there.
you know. So let's do more testing. People should be conscious about testing. Let there be, you know, places where you could just waltz into and, you know, get
Although
tested.
we would also give kudos to the Nigerian government and then the Federal Ministry of Health so far with the way they are tackling the virus.
They, you know,
even some reports, international reports have
has
actually come out to say Nigeria is handling this thing very well. Because apart from that Italian case that is confirmed, we've not Italian man's case that's been confirmed. We've not really had any other confirmed case. Every other one has just been suspected cases, and then whenever they go into the lab for testing, it comes out negative. So I just feel we should ensure more precautionary measures as much as we feel we're Nigeria, and then we're trying our very best with regards to the health situation of the country when it comes to combating this coronavirus.
Exactly.
There are lots of advanced countries who are out there that have suffered lots of losses.
Exactly, lots of losses.
Over 5,000 deaths so far recorded worldwide.
It's not even about, you know, being an advanced country anymore. US is struggling, you know, Italy
China is struggling.
China is struggling, and you know, we're here in Africa.
Iran is struggling.
You know, we're here in Africa, and some other countries are beginning to record more and more cases. So we just need to be conscious. We just need to, you know, keep doing. And I'm really, really happy that the Ministry of Health is doing so much already, and they should do more. They should definitely do more. But on that note, let's move on, because we're still talking all things health. And up next is healthy living, and it's about air pollution. Let's find out what this is about. Stay tuned.
The immediate effects of air pollution are hard to ignore. Watery eyes, coughing, and difficulty breathing are acute and common reactions. Welcome to Healthy Living on Television Nigerian. I am Chiwendu Osisiago, and today we shall be discussing on the effects of air pollution and health. An estimated 92% of the world population live in areas with dangerous levels of air pollution. Even at similarly levels, air pollution can increase one's risk of cardiovascular and premature deaths. Air pollution is almost as deadly as tobacco. In 2016, it was linked to the death of 6.1 million people, according to the University of Washington Institute for Health Metric and Evaluation, and it might harm you even before you take your first breath. Exposure to high levels of air pollution during pregnancy has been linked to miscarriages as well as premature births, petrol disorder, and asthma in children. Air pollution may damage children's brain development, which kills almost 1 million children under the age of 5 every year and is caused by air pollution. Children who breathe in higher levels of pollutants also face a greater risk of short-term respiratory infections and lung damage. Other conditions associated with high levels of air pollution include emphysema and chronic bronchitis, as well as lung cancer. Pollutants can affect cardiovascular health by hardening the arthritis and increase the risk of heart attack and stroke. And there is even emerging evidence that air pollution may be linked to mental health conditions and degenerate brain disease. How can air pollution damage the body? While air pollution linked to respiratory disease may seem obvious, its relationship to heart, brain, and fetal health is less so. There are at least 2 possible mechanisms by which air pollution can harm part of the body besides the nasal cavity and lungs. That is, according to Anthony Gerber at National Juris Health in Denver, the first has to do with inflammation, which is the body's way of repairing itself after an injury or illness. When the toxic soup of chemical particles and liquid droplets emitted by cars, power plants, fires, and factories, known as particulate matter, is inhaled, the microscopic toxic dust can irritate nasal passage and result in an allergic type response to the pollution, with symptoms like coughing and a runny nose. Scientists believe that as the particles make their way deeper into the airways and into the lungs, the body may mistake it for an infection, triggering an inflammatory response. When you have a bad head cold, you feel sick everywhere and your muscle might ache. Gerber said the same thing can happen when you breathe in pollution. In conclusion, the execution of environmentally friendly practices in Nigeria will help decrease the air pollution crisis in Nigeria that is present in households, businesses, and the outside environment. In order for the elimination of air pollution to be effective, the country must pursue the regulations for all Nigerians. And that's the much we have for you today on Healthy Living on Daybreak Africa. I am Chiwendu Osisiogo. Daybreak Africa continues shortly.
Welcome back.
Right.
This is still Daybreak Africa, and
we're still here.
Exactly.
And that was air pollution.
Exactly.
You see, I think it's very key for us to ensure that we keep our environment clean and then we do not pollute the environment. Like, okay, you recall there was a time there was a severe acute respiratory syndrome in the world. That one was also a pandemic, kind of.
Exactly.
And then if we're contributing to our own environmental degradation, say air pollution or something, maybe, because some people, they just go ahead and burn refuse, they go ahead and burn tires, without even considering, okay, there are people out there who are breathing in oxygen and then giving a carbon dioxide,
Exactly.
right? So if we pollute the air like this, what do they take in?
And the thing about air pollution is, I think it gets worse over time when all these pollutions keep going, and then eventually it becomes really, really bad. And then the fact is, from polluting the land, the water, you end up polluting the air. So
yesterday we talked
Yesterday
we talked about malaria, the cause of malaria, and then we also talked about unhygienic environment.
Yeah.
So even air pollution is part of it's part of polluting. It's part of the reasons. It's one of the things that cause health problems, right?
And air pollution. We talked about the fact that we've been talking about coronavirus non-stop, and then the fact is, in some sort of way, coronavirus can be passed through the air. So that is in some way air pollution. So yes, we have to be conscious of our environment. And then hygiene, personal hygiene is key. Not just personal hygiene, even just general hygiene. Making sure that you keep your environment
as long as you
clean.
live in an environment, ensure that it's clean.
Yes.
Do your own part. Do not wait for government all the time saying, why is government not doing this, why is government not doing that? But what about you as an individual? And we should not also forget the fact that we are part of this government that we're talking about, right?
Yes, and then people will always give that excuse that yes, the government, but what are you doing? You know, there's also the part of personal effort. And yes, we're still talking all things coronavirus, and we have Street Cred. As usual, TVN went on the street to get people's opinions, and it is actually about coronavirus. So Street Cred is up next. Do stay tuned.
My name is Elisha.
Have you heard about the sickness called coronavirus?
Yes, I have heard about it.
What name do you call it in your language?
Well, coronavirus is a new illness that's come to Nigeria. I don't know the name in my language actually.
But now, what name can you call it in your language?
Well, I can call it Lolo.
What language is that?
That is Madaba tribe.
Madaba tribe. In what state?
Nasarawa State.
Okay. Do you know any cure for the coronavirus?
Well, coronavirus, I don't know any cure of coronavirus, and I don't really heard somebody tell me coronavirus had cure. Anyway, use sanitizer to wash your hand every time. I think that is a way of avoiding coronavirus.
In your own local language, advise Nigerian.
Let me use my dialect to advise Mada as a whole. Jere Mada ngati jabubo. Jela garumbo mbre mwe kware sa yede on jama kanu mwe ne ba mazo mutore shaka. Sanu mwe jaba manlango kumpetan. Don lango ekesa bavela devu lolo jajaka badi coronavirus kiameka Lord, Laya de Vonve, what a good general, de Mukiji, Wangala, the Kijion Kaki, ye so wala Boaka Sangashisha Vemenzoka Ganyir Jaco Quarter Mada.
Have you heard of the sickness called coronavirus?
Yes, of course.
How is it affecting you as it's spreading?
Though the news is psychological, sometimes delay that one need to be careful due to the way we do get the news all over the world, easy to contact. So everyone is at this time. Everyone is just careful.
Okay. So in your local language, what do you call coronavirus?
In my language, I cannot really tell the name of the disease in my language because since I was born, this is the first time I'm hearing about coronavirus.
Well, now what can you call it in your language?
In my language?
Yes, sir.
I cannot give it a name that I just know it. I can just say Yechi, Lolo, Echibohan. That is the currently a sickness that have not yet been gotten the vaccine.
Okay. So what measure are you putting to prevent the spread?
How to wash your hand regularly and how to avoid having contact with somebody who is tested positive. In the Doma language, because so so everybody should hold itself.
What's name?
My name is Andrew Umar Awodi.
Have you heard of the sickness called coronavirus?
Yes. Ubo. It's a day. Now, advance abum. Buruka do and I do careful say to make. I will say to me. When my time I check ma. Make it down and return and do anyhow. Keep coronavirus is real. It's there. Get shy. It's there and the kill around it. And the kill around it. And the kill around it. It's there. So and if I show I keep down I keep cook bone and I keep if I show call na doko and look at your transfer I keep boko men. So yon oga yakpa mu na yon it's real there jali.
So what language do you speak?
I speak Igala.
What then do you call coronavirus in your language?
Coronavirus in my language coronavirus is oga bibi she oga jere because oga could be to so odukete in the Thailand.
So that's what's going in language.
Language. But my language is just organic because in the room that the corona language in there. You know get another name pass the coronavirus for my language.
So have you heard of sickness coronavirus?
Yes, I've heard about the coronavirus. And what we'll do in this country is to pray for this very virus because it seems to me like 2 years to come, the whole world will wash away because of this very coronavirus.
Yeah. So in your local language, what do you call it, coronavirus?
Coronavirus in my local language, I cannot tell you how we call it with our language because it's a new symptom of disease. I don't know the name.
Yes, so now what name can you give it on your own your language?
The name I can give is I can give the name Odumukpo. That is a killer disease.
Okay. What language is that, sir?
That is Adara.
Well, that was TV and Street Grid.
Exactly.
A lot of Nigerians on the street out there talking about coronavirus, what they refer to it in their native languages.
Should be told, I don't think Yorubas have anything to call.
I don't think Ibiras have any name for it either. Maybe they do. I think I have to confirm for my dad.
Okay.
Okay, so still talking about coronavirus, and now this is a sad one. The Minister of State, Federal Minister of Health, Adeleke Mamora, has revealed that a Nigerian doctor, Olumide Okunuga, has died after contracting coronavirus. Mamora noted that the medical doctor died in Canada while speaking with newsmen during a briefing in Abuja on Monday. That's indeed a sad one.
Very sad.
To think that someone who's catering to other people's health had to die from this. You'd recall when Ebola virus came into Nigeria again, the first doctor, a lady who actually came in contact with the victim, also had to die eventually because she contracted it. And now this Nigerian doctor, you can imagine how much he must have contributed to saving lives in Canada there, and then he had to die now.
Yeah, and that just brings us back to talking about the fact that we all have to be careful,
right?
Because nobody's immune. We've not gotten any kind of reports that there's some sort of immunity. Although at some point some people were raising that they were like, okay, since it's not in Africa, Africans are probably immune, but it's obvious. People should know that anybody can die from coronavirus, so that's why you need to be careful. Although there's been reports that it's more it happens more frequently, or death happens more frequently with people that have underlying health conditions, or really old people, or little children. But yes, everybody still has to be careful.
Because even when you look at the doctors that tend to patients, you see them dressed in their suits, they're all covered up and everything. But I'm sure this doctor wasn't exposing himself. But then look at what happened.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure, and the thing is, he's a doctor, so obviously he has some kind of knowledge about the virus and how it works. So for that reason, if you're a normal person, you don't even have any kind of health background and everything, and then you now feel like, oh yes, I'm just going to be living my life. Some people have not changed any of their routines. Some people don't even wash their hands yet. Some people are just
people do not even care about this. When you still see some average Nigerians on the street, they make it look like coronavirus is a joke. And it's not.
It's definitely not a joke. It's definitely important for us to raise awareness and consciousness, and we continue to do that on this program because it's important for you all to know that coronavirus is out there and we need to protect ourselves. Well, at this point, we're moving on to another report, and it is on mathematics. Truth be told, when I was in secondary school, I really liked mathematics until it got to a point where I started feeling like it became a burden because everybody wanted me to answer the math questions for them.
I never really liked mathematics. I think my WAEC result would attest to that. But the thing is, I never really liked it. But I think when I was growing up, and then even now, now I've come to understand that it's more about you may not really like the subject, but then you have to be open-minded.
Exactly.
You have to be open-minded.
Because one day you see interest and percentage, and you just have to do it in your normal life, in your daily life. Okay, so let's get to this report on mathematics. We will be right back.
Mathematics is regarded as the mother of all sciences and a body of knowledge that provides solutions to problems and by extension instill innovative skills to those who practice over time. The subject, which entails numbers, logic of quantity, shape arrangement, complex methodology, and sometimes makes the process seem rigorous, has a way of improving our cognitive reasoning. Our daily routine in life is governed by time that includes mathematical processes, but still, many tend to find the subject difficult and uninteresting, which brings us to the most unasked question: what is the right approach?
I see mathematics as a subject that challenges students intellectually, and it helps students to make their brains think faster, because when you solve problems and when you solve equations, it helps your brain to react faster to problems.
Right from start, I was able to do the math. My dad, my mom, my brother. So it's a family thing. And also the methods the teachers use. It's actually quite easy for me to understand.
Those who don't know it, I actually advise them that you should practice it, because practice makes perfect. Anything in life that you actually find challenge in, if you put your mind and you actually have to pray to God to help you to overcome it.
Sometimes we can use projector to project mathematics. Then we can still try to improvise so many things so that to make mathematics lively to the students.
Unfortunately, our societal view, educational system, and the child's background has, in one way or the other, played a major role of inculcating the wrong ideas of mathematics in the minds of children at a very tender age. However, mathematics phobia among students makes some children lose confidence in their ability to understand and solve mathematical equations, which tends to affect them psychologically.
The teachers generally should provide more teaching aids and materials to help the students and bring mathematics in a fun way so that people at all levels, even the primary level, can understand.
The teachers should devise a means of making their, self-developed, or like call it now, learning aids, as we call it. Encourage the children to join in developing the learning aid. Once the children participate in developing the aids for learning the subject, they develop a better flair for the subject. We tell them that math reflects in everything you do. When you are eating, you calculate the measure of food you take to your mouth so that you don't choke. It's mathematics.
It is the responsibility of the teacher to make sure all these scholars are carried along. So what do? Those persons you discover that do not get or do not understand what you've taught at a particular point in time, create extra time for them, give them the avenue to ask questions, make learning fun, and the little they've done, encourage or appreciate their efforts. Do not wait until you've got results. Efforts should also be appreciated.
Is to have an enabling environment. So first of all, the environment has to be welcoming for the children. You have to have displays. So in our classes, for instance, we have mathematical displays. So the plus sign, minus sign, all of that, they're all equations, they're on the walls. So it's something they see every day, they relate with every day.
Learning mathematics is considered boring, but can be made interesting as it all depends on the tutor's teaching. In that same vein, some students find it interesting.
Mathematics is easy, it's not difficult. And with that mindset, they keep going to primary school, to secondary school, and you are still there as a parent, helping to guide and then to ensure that the child is getting it right. Then coming to the students in schools. In our schools, I earlier on said we have guidance and counseling teachers. Their work is to counsel, to mentor, to coach, and to ensure that these children are guided properly.
To rid mathematics phobia in students, collective efforts need to be put in place by the parents, government, education board, school environment, and most importantly, the students. Teaching in all levels should be made fun and enticing through innovative means to spur enthusiasm in the students who have challenges understanding the subject or may have come to believe that the subject is unattainable. Juliet Uduji, Television, Nigeria.
Well, mathematics is definitely important.
Right,
and
that report was indeed explosive.
Exactly, it's one of those subjects that you can't do without.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in any field at all, mathematics.
I guess I learned from that. See, I was scared growing up learning mathematics in school, but now from that particular report, I've come to understand now that guidance and counseling in school is very pertinent, is very key. Mm-hmm. Because if a student has an issue with a particular subject, there should be a counselor in school who talk to the student. Okay, what are your fears? What's happening? So I think from now, I've learned, even if I have a sibling or maybe a child now, I get to understand, okay, if you're having any problem with mathematics, why don't you talk to me or talk to your counselor in school? Let us know how we can find our way around it. And of course, it also helps in boosting the child's IQ,
exactly.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, and
So
some students are really struggling with mathematics and they don't really have anybody to talk to because people just feel like, oh, you're a dummy because you can't. But meanwhile, everybody has their own struggles, their personal struggles.
Right.
And let's move on. There's a little bit happening in the entertainment world that I want to fill you in on. Okay, so there's this whole situation with Senator Elisha Abo. You know, before now, remember him? Some blogs will refer to him as a slapping senator.
Right.
Well, he has been appointed as a patron to the Actors Guild of Nigeria. And a lot of Nigerian actors are not very happy about it. Particularly Kate Henshaw came out on Twitter and she has said that there are a lot of women in the Actors Guild of Nigeria and none of them wants to be slapped. And even apart from her, another veteran actress has come out to say, you don't give positions like this to someone who has proven that they don't care about the regular people. He actually slapped a nursing mother. That is no joke. That just
at a toy
shows,
shop.
Exactly. Sex toy shop.
Right.
That just shows that he has no respect and regard for women. And then somebody like that, we're giving him an appointment as a patron. A patron is supposed
Actors
to be,
Guild of
exactly,
Nigeria. We're talking about Nollywood.
Exactly. A patron is supposed to be somebody that has, you know, very, very like good qualities, somebody to look up to, somebody to mentor after, somebody like that. Not somebody that has continuously proven that person does not care about people and that the person is bad. And then
even if he claims he's repentant, he has come out to apologize to Nigerians, even the Nigerian women, saying he did this, it was wrong of him, and then people should have heard his own side of the story before judging.
What but then again, I feel there is no side of the story that justifies what he did.
Then again, I feel it's not even, it doesn't even make any sense appointing this person as a patron of Actors Guild of Nigeria. Is it because he has the money? You know, he's a serving senator. Could it be because of the money? There are lots of unanswered
it's
questions
sad because
right
a lot of people will think about it this way. Okay, because he's a senator, he obviously has money. Maybe because you want to get favors from him, they give him such an appointment
to promote the movies or something.
The thing is, giving him an appointment as a patron, it's more like, okay, you are such an amazing person and we're trying to honor you, that sort of thing. But why are we honoring him?
Well, another one that caught my attention just yesterday is that of Dino Melaye, the former senator of the National Assembly. He was decorated as I think he's now part of Nollywood now, so he's part
he
of.
He was even at the NBC.
Right.
Interestingly,
he was decorated as a Nollywood guy now, and I'm wondering, okay, I've only seen him feature in I think 1 or 2 films, and now you've already welcomed him into the movie industry.
Well, I think, but we don't have other senators involving themselves in, you know, and over time we've come to know that Senator Dino Melaye is a very carefree person. I think he's one of those people that just wants to live life.
And then, you know, that time that he went into movies, some people were like, he retired from the Senate and he went into Nollywood. Exactly. So that all the drama he keeps giving us at the Nigerian Senate, he wants to channel it into Nollywood. Well,
well, that's definitely interesting. But sadly, we have to close on this note.
Right.
We've talked about so much. We're giving you a lot of information, enlightened you, entertained you. So at this point,
we talked about politics, health, security, crime, even education, entertainment. Like we always say, Daybreak Africa is a bumper package where we give you details that help you start your day. What are you looking for that we're not telling you, right? Even we have a bit of gossips too.
Exactly. So yes, do come back tomorrow. We'll be here live and direct.
Right, bright and early.
Bringing you more information and entertainment and educating you on what you need to know to have an amazing day. So yes, from us here, the Daybreak Africa crew, I am Priscilla Ajeshola. Have a wonderful day.
And I'm Aisha Salihu. Have a blessed day ahead.
What makes it amazing? Is it the stories? Is it the wildlife? Is it the people? Daybreak Africa, news across Africa.